Hello and welcome to Stampscaping 101. We're going to go over the difference between a linear drawing and a drawing made of volumes or mass, okay? Mass, I draw my designs in volumes and mass, okay? It gives things a little bit more of a three-dimensional and visual weight kind of feeling to a visual as opposed to a linear one made of outlines, okay? But what I see a lot of times are people coming from outline designs, linear ones. They're kind of more caricatures of drawings. And they're coming from a kind of a technique of stamping something out and coloring it in, okay? A lot of designs are like that. I like a lot of those types of designs too, but I just don't use them for landscape types of things because I like visual weight to my designs, and I like to describe masses through the rendering of objects, okay? All right, but I'll show you what I see happening a lot from those that are just kind of used to doing more of kind of a layout to be colored in, okay? And I'm going to show you how this is going to save you just a ton of time when doing this form of coloring, or just how to approach designs with mass if you want them to have inherent color, okay? All right, so I'm just stamping this out. I've got the Lakeside Cove large, and let's put some pines here in the foreground, okay? Now, a lot of times, like I said, people are coming from a great technique and, you know, stamping something out and coloring it in, but oftentimes they get to kind of, it's not the opposite design sensibility, but it's just different, okay? So we have these trees in here, and they are a full mass of that tree, okay? There's nothing to be colored. But if people want green trees, now what they're doing is going back into them. Let's take a colored pencil here, and I'll show you what we're doing here. And let's take a green like this. It's kind of a pine green, a little bit of an earthy green. Okay, now what they're doing is something like this, but they're coloring it like this, okay? Because they're really not quite sure where to go. Now you can do something like this and just say, I don't know, maybe this represents some of the pines or boughs in back of the trees, okay? But what happens is you get this kind of halo of color around things, okay? Like this. Okay, now this is colored pencil. And I mean, this doesn't look bad, okay? I think it looks fine, but like I said, you lose the form of the objects this way, okay? See, it's kind of filled in like that. Okay, now that's that. Sometimes I see it done in, let's say, you know, an alcohol marker or something like that. All right, so it might look something like this. Okay. And you can see where this one, it's a little bit more, oh, I don't know, it's not really very, much in harmony with that side. It's like a dome of color around it. See that? How it goes like that? And then, you can have other colors in the background, blue sky or whatnot. Okay, now that is one way to do things. And like I said, I mean, you can do it, but I just think there's a much easier way, and that's in dealing with the solid masses for the colors themselves, okay? So, all right, here's what I do. Not everyone has these types of markers either, so I get it. But what I like to do, this is what I learned from coloring for years at a Stamp in the Hand when we used to do these colored tops. But what I do is I give a darker base, so I just went with black here, okay? Usually you don't see like some kind of lime green pine tree or something like that. There might be some bows that are that way, but or needles. If you look at them close up, but when you're looking at something at a distance, you don't usually see really super light tones in them because they're just too far in the distance, okay? So what I'm doing is I'm kind of lifting some of this color, okay? You can do this. Now, this is a dye-based ink pad, the black Marvy, and I'm using a dye-based ink pen to bring out some additional tone, okay, some additional values. Now, okay, some of these pens are, I need to re-ink some of these. They don't really come with official re-inkers. Oh, you can see my pens are really dry here. As you can see, I don't do this too often, but okay, let's see. Coming in with a real dry one right here. Anyways, what I was getting at with the re-inking, you can just pop the backs of these open like this and, I would put a different version of green that they do have a re-inker for. Who knows? You can probably mix and match, brands too, as long as they're dye-based inks. Okay, so variations of green on here. Let's see if I get some variations of green. I hope I do. These pens are really, really dry. Let's give it a try here. I'll try it just with the pads too. I'll just mix and match with some pads. Okay, so there you go. Do you see that tinge of green in there? There's your green, okay? Something like this. And you get it up there, but see there how there's variation of it? I think that looks better than just having all one value of green or one, hue like that, okay? And that doesn't look more natural than something like this, okay? All right, now let's do it with pine trees. Let me try to do it with just a couple pads. Here. Oh, the pads that I'm always going for at the bottom of my stack. Let's go with Memento Cottage Ivy. I don't have a Memento Black. I don't feel I need it because I have the Marvy Black. That's my favorite black to use in terms of saturation and viscosity. Okay, so black, like that, and green. Now I know if you've done kind of blending of tones before, you usually say, well, shouldn't you go with the green first and then the black so that the black doesn't pollute, or the darker color doesn't pollute the lighter one? Yeah, in some forms, but I don't know. I just wipe it off like that and it just comes right off, okay? I just feel that the blend looks better doing it the other way around, going light into dark. Otherwise, you can get these streaks. But we'll try it both ways. How's that? Okay, so this is green, cottage ivy on black. Let me see if I got some of it. Yeah, I didn't get too much of it. Maybe I put too much black in here, but you can see these little tinges of green like that. All right. Let's just ink this right up here. I know I took some black on there, but I'll just go like this a little bit. And, it might stain your pad, but I don't think it's so extreme. Okay, let me just kind of dab this around. I'm just kind of dabbing on here with my black pad. Let's see if I can get another variation of a green value. Yeah, looks pretty good like that. Okay. Now see where that is the silhouette of that tree. It's a solid, right? And let me just go with straight black here. Change height a little bit. Okay, but see, that is the green, and that's all you need to do there. Okay, now see, we'll compare and contrast here. There's your green trees right here. It is the solid right there. And here's this one right here. Now, like I said, you can fill this out if you want to a little bit with some additional color or something like that. If you want it to be a really full evergreen. But there's your greens in there. And that is ready to go. You don't have to do any coloring. No, you have to color in the open areas if you want, some color in those rocks or something like that. But you're ready to go as far as the imagery goes, okay? Things that are solids like this aren't really designed to stamp out and color in. It's a solid right there, so, there might be this inclination to do it. But if you want that color to be inherent in these designs like this, what you do is you ink them up in those colors and you stamp them out. Now this one has a little bit more of some open area, so you can stamp this out in black and color in some, browns, I don't know, whatever, some little moss on there or something like that. Not everything, I'm talking about solid imagery now. I'm not talking about open imagery like this. You want that cloud to be a little bit blue in here. You can stamp it out whatever you want. Blue and then color it in with a lighter blue. You can stamp it out in black and color it into something. Sunset tones, you stamp it out in whatever, a dark brown and color it in with, gold and pinks and whatever kind of colors like that. That is an open stamp. It's not a solid, type of, non-tonal image, okay? So, that being said, you can color those types of things in. This one, usually they're kind of a combination of solids, texture, and open areas like this rock right here. And if it was a solid rock and you wanted it to be a certain color, then you would color it in that and stamp it out as opposed to filling it in, okay? Uh, Color direct, mostly color direct, but see the cabin here, you can fill in with color. But these trees around here, you want them green? Ink them up with green, all right? And then stamp them out, and you'll have inherently green trees. But if you want color on that cabin, you can color that in a little bit of brown or something like that. But if you want to color on that rooftop, you're going to have to do it after you stamp it out, because that is an open space in there. You want a little bit of a yellow light coming out of there, indicative of interior lighting. Then color it in after you stamp it out. But the solids on those images, color those in the colors you want them to appear, and then there won't be any need to fill in. Well, it's not really filling in; it's doing kind of a perimeter application of it. All right. So, anyways, that's the difference there between that. Give that a try. Give yourself. I do have a different video, a real early on one, where I showed how to get kind of color variations in stamps, but it's mostly kind of referring to your solid styles of imagery, okay? As opposed to open space ones, which, you can still color in, but the solid areas of them, get that color that you want in it. Here's a few designs right here. Leaves right here, they're solids. They're not open kind of, leaves. So you want them to be a, fall color, autumn colors or something like that. And you're going to put some reds and, oranges and yellows on them or something like that. And then stamp them out as opposed to stamping them black and getting kind of this, this colored haze around them. Same thing there. Different colored rocks or whatnot. But these ones are open. So you stamp them out and you color them in. Because there's not a lot of solid. That one's a solid right there. So, I mean, if you wanted that to be, whatever, reds, oranges, whatever, if it's in the autumn, then you color it that way. I don't know. I usually just stamp this one out and color it right in. I don't usually bring too many tones into it with the impression ink. Okay, I usually just do this one in black and then color in. That's the easiest way. But the easiest way on these ones by far is just to color these stamps, stamp them out, you're ready to go. You don't have to do any additional coloring in. Now, like I said, if you want, those rocks on those, the shoreline to be colored in, then you have to do that afterwards. You can bring a little bit of color into that grass down here, but it would be very, very subtle. So I think it's just easier just to do it in black. But you can see all those different grains. It's drying a little bit lighter than when I first stamped them out, but look at that, that variation in there. And when you do have that variation in there, inherent in the impression, some greens and some blacks, there looks like there's some visual depth inherent in the impression. So you're just set, you have your color and you have additional depth in there with just right within your print. And that really takes a lot of extra work out of it for you. Should you want to kind of, I don't know, whatever, employ, visual depth into your scene anyways, which we often do. In scenic stamp, you don't have to. But like I said, it's just so easy to do with, kind of, a very easy technique right there. That being said, these Marvy 1500 style pens, they sell them right on the Uchida website, the 1500 marker. I would say if you had, like, I don't know, it's for scenic stamping, if you had maybe 8 pens or something like that, a couple different versions of green, brown, light brown, darker brown, a couple different blues, something like that. I don't know if you want like a yellow or a pink or something like that. those pens would go a long ways as far as your direct coloring impressions, okay? Especially something like a pale blue, something like this. These ones would take care of your green, you know, a little bit of yellow and blue together, pink and, you know, yellow take care of an orange, like for your autumn tones or something like that. I don't know. I mean, I'm just saying that if you really want to get, you know, a very limited range of tones, but I used to teach classes pre-stamp pads. Remember, stamp pads weren't always around. Everyone got about 11 pens, and that's all we used, you know. It was limiting, okay, but I was able to get a full, you know, color range of all the different hues, greens, blues, purples, pinks, yellows, and oranges, and whatnot, and then a couple browns, and then black. Okay, so anyways, fun stuff. Oh, and I use these pens because it has that big wide tip right there. They do get frayed after a while, but this pen's probably 30 years old, okay? And you can see it was dry, but what I'll do is if they have, I don't think they have I think they have a 15 in pad form, and I can fill this up. Or you just fill it up with a lighter tone of ink. It changes the hue a little bit, but that's better than just tossing it out. Or you can just add some water down it, and it'll give you a diluted version of this color. But like I said, you know, just keep that in mind. It's just a diluted version of this color, but you get a lighter color, you know, and you don't have to toss the pen out. All right, so anyways, practice your coloring, play around with it, you know. Like this tree right here. See this tree right here? I think it's a little bit too light for my foreground, but in the context of kind of sandwiching it between these two darker ones, we create a little depth in that space, and this would be a really great scene. Just for a little bit of blue tones in the background or whatnot. You could put a quote up here or something like that. You know, colored pencils or something like this down here, or, you know, additional dye-based inks look really good. All right, so anyways, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed it.